I've been hearing about the videos about the lady that was calling churches to see if they could give her a canned baby formula. And I saw part of one of them and how she has the baby crying in the background. And that just kills me because I cannot believe that someone could hear that and not feel compelled to help her figure that out. Church, no church, whatever, like I can't imagine getting that phone call, hearing that baby and just being like, well, stems the brakes. Like I don't understand what that is. And I tend to believe that people that grew up poor or have had experiences being poor are far more generous than people that have money. And of course, the churches that they called are wealthy. Like if you called the Mormon church that has $300 billion, that's probably a reply you would get. And if they send you to the storehouse, you're going to pay that off, and it is a shameful experience. It's not pleasant. If you need a loan or help on rent, they will call your family to make sure they don't have something to give first. Like they will give you an enema to see if there is money inside your body. That's what it's like. But I was thinking about how, you heard that baby crying and there was no even just going, you know what, I'm just going to Venmo you the money. Like, how can I get you this money? How can we drop something off for you? Or like, hun, I'm going to take my break. I'm going to run, go get you something. If you can come get it from me, I will go get it for you. And I was thinking about a time that I went and I did DoorDash, and I had 2 pizzas to go give to this lady, and I gave them to her, and I got a message, and she was very upset because like, this is not the pizza I ordered. I don't even want these. I don't like this. And I was like, okay, you have to just call DoorDash. And then I got a message or a phone call from the lady, and she said, it shows that you delivered these and I didn't get them. And I said, that's because they gave me the wrong address. And I could hear her kids crying in the background, little kids, and it's like 5:30 or 6 o'clock. And she's like, okay, dang it, whatever. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go get those pizzas. You're not supposed to do that. Like, I didn't do it long, but it was enough to I'm pretty sure this is not in the rules. And I said, I'm going rogue, so don't call DoorDash. And she was like, you're going to do what? And I said, well, she said she didn't want them, so I'm just going to go see if she still has them. Because I just knew she was a mom with kids. I don't know why this makes me emotional, but it's just like, come on, people, be people, help people. It's a wonderful thing. So I went up and I knocked on the door. I was shaking, I was nervous, and the lady's like, what? And I was like, still have those pizzas? And she's like, yeah. I said, great. Did you open the box? No. Great. Can I have them back? She looked at me like I was crazy, but I didn't care. So I got him. I Googled the other lady's address, ran over, and she was outside just laughing her head off because she could not believe I did it. I couldn't believe I did it, but I was like, but I heard your kids, I have kids, and I just can't imagine. I just don't understand that, unwillingness to help, especially when you're claiming to be Christian and all that. It's just very strange to me. But our families, just at least the women in our family, have always just been very generous and like to be of service. And I've had a job since I was 5 years old, so I know what work is. I know what it is to be poor, and I don't know. You just seem to have a more generous and sensitive spirit. I can't say that for everybody, but compared to people that are born with money, that looks foreign to them, and it's strange. But I was talking to my sister about when I lived in Southern California, I would go to different areas where there was homeless people, and I would just sit and talk to them. And I know that sounds strange to some people, but I always like to have firsthand experiences of things. I don't like to be told things through the news or the grapevine. I wanted to know why people were there, what their experiences were, what I could help them with. I just like to learn about the hierarchy and how they operate, and they very much have a hierarchy, and it's just very interesting to watch the conversations happen. But there were times where I would offer money, and people would be like, oh no, we're good. I mean, they got 2 grocery carts, and they have a tarp, but I'm offering them $20 or $50, like, oh no, we're good. And it blew my mind because they weren't trying to just be lazy and grab a bunch of free money. They had what they needed, and then that was it. And then I'd be out there sometimes, and someone would come up with a big bag of hamburgers, wherever they got them from, and they just went down the line and handed them out to everybody. And if someone got an extra, they yelled out, who needs one still? It wasn't like hoarding anything. It was sharing and taking care of each other. And sometimes I would go sit next to someone on a bench, and I know they would look at me like, what are you doing, lady? And I would just sit there, and if they had lunch with them, they would offer me food. And I clearly didn't look like I was homeless. I mean, I don't, I might fit in right now. But, you know, I was dressed up enough that they probably realized I wasn't homeless. But I just wanted to engage them so they didn't feel like an outcast. People can really learn that way. But it just really makes me sad to see this time where people are trying to be stingy or judge who needs what and if they should get it and how they should get it. And, you know, I don't know how you have capitalism or any system like that when you don't have a generous spirit or giving spirit. Like when I owned my company, we paid everybody really well. It was a joy to do so. And I remember, even though I was a Republican at the time, you know, I left the Mormon cult, but Republican was all I knew. But I remember standing there, even though I was the designer, the artist, the inventor of everything, I remember standing there and watching them answer the phones and take care of customers. And I thought, that's something I can't do. I'm not good at that. But they are, and I can't do what I do unless they use their gift of being good to other people on the phone and being organized and doing things I struggle with. And I just realized it doesn't matter that I invented something. If I can't have help getting it out there and created, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really exist. It's just a dream. And it takes these teams to make dreams come true. And I hired people out of prison systems and got to help their kids. And it makes me sad that this country misses out on so much of the joy of being human, of having the adventure of like, oh my gosh, how do we get this woman formula to help this baby? Because when other people have like crisis like that, it's like you get to forget about yourself for a minute and you get to take on this adventure, this challenge of solving this problem to help somebody. And it's something you never forget, and neither do they. And it just always makes me sad that people are so stunned by that. Like when I was in the Mormon cult, you had to go do what they call visiting teaching. So you had a set of ladies you went in and you taught lessons to every month. And my partners would go in with the Ensign magazine to give a lesson on however we should be. And I would go in and I would see a mattress on the floor and no food. And I didn't have much, but the next time I went, I just brought in bags of groceries. And my partner would be like, what are you doing? I was like, what are we doing if we aren't serving and helping? What is the point? What is the point of teaching them to go do genealogy or to be more faithful or to pay that 10% when they don't have food in their cupboards? What are we doing? So yeah, I mean, I wasn't long for that. I mean, I was in there another 10 years, but that's kind of the mindset, was like when the way these corporations or these organizations or these churches work, but it doesn't fundamentally feed the heart and the body and the soul. It's just trying to program the mind. The people that realize that are the ones that end up getting out of there because they're not being fed the way that a human really needs to be fed. And, you know, it really is the greatest gift of all. And to watch these politicians and these billionaires just hoard and be awful is just something I do not understand, and I just can't fathom. And maybe they didn't grow up poor, and maybe that's part of it, but they really are missing out on the best part of being human.